And WNBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WNBA.
It's now time for One Man's Opinion on Sports with Bryan Pasquale. The phone lines are open at 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888. You can also watch live on the WBVP-WNBA Facebook page. Here is your host, Bryan Pasquale.
Welcome to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. He's ready to take your calls at 724-774-1888 and 724-843-1888. Also, make sure you check us out on Beaver County Radio Facebook Live and Beaver County Radio YouTube. Today's show is sponsored by Easy Home Exteriors. They do roofing replacement, windows, doors, and entryways, as well as siding. Easy Home Exteriors is your one-stop shop for all of your exterior modeling needs. For a free estimate, call 412-678-7008. That's 412-678-7008. All right, Ryan, a lot's happened since last week. Paul Skeens gets his first loss as a major league pitcher.
Bryan, you know, with this Paul Skeens getting this first loss, I think it's freaking crazy because, for one, the Cardinals, they have to face Paul Skeens, yet they score multiple runs. We don't face Paul Skeens, and we can't score. What's this tell you? If Cherington doesn't go out and get bats by in the next 6 days, we're going to be in big trouble.
Yeah, I was looking up a stat, and I think we just talked about it just a minute ago, that Lance Lynn, who pitched against Paul Skeens yesterday, gave up 11 runs in 4 innings the start before this, and then all of a sudden the Pirates can't get a run?
It's the Pirates. Whatever the reason may be, I got to tell you, there's probably about 3 or 4 guys right now that I could do without in this lineup. There's guys that you see showing flashes. I mean, Rowdy Tellez, obviously, he's been having a good past month. Brian Reynolds overall has had a past good 6 weeks, give or take. There's a core group of guys that are playing well, and then there's other guys, Brian, on this team that are doing nothing right now. Jack Sawinski's doing nothing right now. Brian Hayes is doing nothing at the plate. These kind of things are going to have to get resolved before we can start considering playoffs. I mean, playoffs is something that's going to come up a lot now because we're only, a half game out of a wild card. We're only 3 games behind the Braves for the they have to figure something out, and they got to figure it out fast. We have 6 days till the trade deadline, and then it's go time after that.
6 days till the trade deadline. The Phillies, the Brewers, and Dodgers will be in the playoffs. There are 3 spots, unless they have an absolute collapse, but there are 3 spots, and currently there's 6 teams. I mean, there's a few more, but 6 relevant teams biting for those final 3 slots. The Braves are 54 and 45. The Mets are 52 and 48. The Cardinals are 53 and 49. Padres 53 and 50, the Pirates 52 and 50, and the Diamondbacks 52 and 50. I was looking into, before we get into the recap of what just happened over the last 6 games, looking into the future, the Pirates play the Padres and the Diamondbacks 12 out of the next 18 games.
Yeah, that's big.
Mixed in there's the Astros and Dodgers, obviously the Dodgers are really good. The Astros, they're starting to come alive. But you're right there, within half game of the Padres and the Diamondbacks, and you get to play them both 6 times each, 3 away, 3 at home. Out of those 12, if you win 8 of those 12, I don't think it really matters much else what goes on. You're going to be one of those wild card teams moving past the middle of August.
This is a situation, Brian, that I think that a true competitor would enjoy. They would take this and say, you know what, let's see what we could do. But with this Pirates team, they're just such an inconsistent baseball team. They're hanging in there by the skin of their teeth. They have this great pitching situation going on with a lot of these young arms right now. Mitch Keller pitching great right now. The key word, I think, obviously, for one, I think you have to go out and get your bat, obviously. No 2 ways about that. But consistency is what this Pirate team's got to do. They got to work on being more consistent. And, they'll take 2 steps forward and then they'll take 2 steps back. And, it's not too much, but it's just enough to kind of keep them out of reach. If they can find a way to stay more consistent and move forward, that's going to be the only way that they could grab one of these spots. Otherwise, as you said, there's about 10 teams right now that could realistically make the playoffs.
Yes, and I believe you could just replay a clip from a few shows ago where we said, if we were to tell you that the Pirates to hold their opponents in a 3-game series to 3 runs, don't you think you should have won 3 games and you only won 2?
Yeah, and especially when Paul Skeens was the game that you lost, you would think, okay, well, you should have won that game. So
8 innings and a third, gives up 2 lousy runs, a home run, and then I believe he gave off a leadoff double. Then there was like this chopper to second, and then he gave up a single to score the run, and then they ended up pulling him. A lot of people are complaining because with the no-hitter, they took him out after 7. With, the 1-1 game, they left him in to go to the 9th.
Yeah.
I have no problem leaving him in. You got to score more than 1 run.
You're right.
I mean, if they go score 4, he goes and pitches a complete game, and you don't even have to use your bullpen. You win 4-2.
I'm seeing people make that complaint. They're like, "Well, why would you send him into the 9th inning?" That's not. Again, you answered it. You hit it right on the head, Brian. That's not the answer. That's not the problem. The problem is this team has to score more runs. You're not going to win many games by scoring 1 run. You're just not. And
especially when you have the bases loaded.
How many times? There was a couple times the bases were loaded.
You're batting like 4 of like 9 million with runners in scoring position over the last few series. It's absolutely. I don't understand though. Here's the thing. I was talking to my buddy. He's a Phillies fan, and they were talking about getting some people to make a push, and what are the Pirates going to do? And I said, to be honest with you, 12 teams make the playoffs. 6-6 American League, National League. That leaves a lot of teams out of 30 in contention.
Yeah.
That leaves a lot of teams not sellers, and there's not a lot of batters out there.
Right.
And, now you're going to be overpaying, I think, for people. I find it hard for the Pirates to get a center fielder, which is something they need, maybe a right fielder. Yeah. I think their infield's okay. They do have Bryan Hayes just being awful at the plate.
His problem, he's streaky. He'll go 5 for 5 one day, and then there's you'll see him go a week without getting a hit. Again,
I see him go a week without hitting the ball out of the infield.
It's consistency with this team, and they just don't have it. There's teams that are consistent. There's teams that aren't, and this team is not consistent.
Where's that batting coach from Altoona that he went to last year? Where are you at? Can we hire you back? I know the Pirates disrespected you and went into all this analytics crap.
Yeah.
And Bryan Hayes has fallen back into batting terribly. Where's that guy that taught him how to hit the last 2 months of last season?
Brian, listen. This I think is okay. So this is the most Pirate move I think, obviously, that you could do. They're looking at Jazz Chisholm from down in Miami. He's a 250 hitter. He's about what we have. I mean, if you plug him into the lineup, he could be another. A Tellez, somebody who is semi-productive right now. But again, at the end of the day, he's a 250 hitter. He doesn't have the greatest numbers, but he will be an upgrade over Michael A. Taylor, who can't hit the ball, or Jack Sawinski, who, again, he has his own story. But
I mean, you add those 2 guys up together, and are they even batting 300?
No.
Yeah, they're just terrible. They're absolutely terrible. They're waste of space. Taylor did take a walk today, and I was like, watch, now that they're up 5-0, this is when he's going to get like a home run or a double whenever it doesn't matter, you know?
There are some shining points, though, in this team. I mean, you got to like what you're seeing Joey Bart do behind the plate. This kid, I didn't catch the game today, but from what I've seen to this point, since he's come back from injury, he's gunned about 3 or 4 runners out trying to steal. So there are shimmering lights, that are out there. Again, consistency, I think, is the key for getting better.
Well, they are consistently awful at the plate.
Yes.
It's absolutely just atrocious to see. They'll have bases loaded or, runners at first and second with 1 out, and you're like, all right, base hit here. It's like double play every time. They don't even just strike out. They get 2 guys out with 1 swing.
You got a guy on third base with 1 out, or no outs for that matter. You should be able to get that guy. Just get the ball out of the infield, whether it be by air, ground, whatever it is. Get the ball out of the infield. They have a problem doing this with all the time. Nicky G right now seems to be the only person that can hit the ball with runners on the pads, and that's a problem.
Nicky G's going to be part of my trivia I have for you later on in the show.
Okay.
It's not about mustaches.
Oh, wow, man.
So the Pirates win today, 5-0. They take 2 out of 3 versus the Cardinals. They just took 2 out of 3 versus the Phillies. Before the All-Star break, they took, 18 in a row off the White Sox?
It's felt like it.
That's what we needed. That's what we needed to get to 500. And before that, we took 2 out of 3 versus the Brewers. I can't remember the last time the Pirates have lost a series. Ryan's checking the schedule. It had to be the series before the Brewers, right? Tick, tick, tick. What's the Jeopardy music?
The series, so the series before the Brewers was the Mets 4 game, which we tied 2 games apiece.
Okay.
It was actually the St. Louis series directly before that. We lost 2 games to
Right. Okay, so Mitch Keller pitches 7 innings, gives up 1 run.
Yeah.
Then Chapman comes in. Then Bednar comes in. Then we have Paul Skeens go out. It's 1-1 going into the top of the 9th. Shelton decides to leave him out there, and Paul Skeens can only get 1 out and gives up a run. I believe there was a runner on as well after that, and they decided to pull him, and the Pirates could not score, even though they had bases loaded multiple times that game. They only scored 1 run. Then today, the bats came out early, and then, of course, they went away again because they can only come out for an inning or 2, and then they go to sleep for about 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, they're good for 1 inning every 24 hours is the way that I see it. Yeah. You don't have many more really productive innings besides for that. You don't.
It's sad. Here's the thing. I look around baseball, though. Like, hitting is just really bad. I look at all these people. Goldschmidt comes up to bat, and he's batting like 230. I'm like, Goldschmidt?
Wow. Yeah.
Like, I know he's older, but, why is everybody bat? Like, there's no 300 hitters anymore. I mean, there's a few, but...
You know what? The guys that pitched back in the days of Ted Williams, I highly doubt that they pitched with the same stuff that the guys use today. These pitchers are amazing. You know that they're amazing.
Are you talking about PEDs or are you talking about snot on the ball?
Just the different junk that they use, different pitches, the different looks, the different strategies. I mean, they certainly didn't pitch the way that they do now. Back when those guys were hitting 300, 400, things like this. But you know what? But Brian, we always say it. If you want to win, you have to have pitching. Pitching is what you have to have. Now you work on your hitting and go from there. If you don't have pitching, you're not going to win games in the majors.
Yeah, the Yankees for this entire century have had the hitting.
Yeah.
The hitting that gets you into the playoffs, but the pitching wins you the World Series or gets you to the World Series. It's always the pitching. Yeah, you got to have key hitting here and there, but if you have some shutdown pitchers, which I would rival the Pirates, let's say top 10 pitchers, bullpen and starters versus any other 10 pitchers in Major League Baseball right now. At the same time, I would rank their top 5 hitters with maybe the worst 5 hitters. And so it's really sad that we can't have both right now. And the only way to do it is to go out and spend money and overpay. And I just don't see us doing that. I see us getting a couple guys that maybe you got to get lucky with, I think.
That's you just answered the question, Brian. You have to overpay. This is the way that the game is nowadays. If you don't play the way that the game's being played, you're not going to be successful. You're not going to be running with the other teams that do this. These teams are out overpaying, and at the end of the day, only one team gets to carry the hardware at the end of the season. So look at the amount of teams that go out, they spend that don't get it done. And the strategy of our owner is, we're not going to spend that much money. That pretty much puts us behind the 8 ball from the very beginning. We're not going to win because our owners just don't spend. Our GM just does not spend. We're not put in a position to win baseball.
When were you born, Ryan?
July.
Was it 78 or 79?
It was 78.
Okay, because 1979 is the last time the Pirates won the World Series.
Yeah.
So for your lifetime, for my lifetime, I was born in 77. I don't know. We were in diapers and didn't know what baseball was, obviously. So we've never seen anything. We got to see them lose to the Braves in the 90s and then, go up 2-0 against the Cardinals in 13 and just lose 3 in a row, even though it was, a valiant effort. And then just those 2 playoff losses to Bumgarner and Arrieta.
Before we do go on break, I do want to say that the guy that did kill us in that game, the series against the Cardinals, he was a first baseman. He actually went to the same college that you went to.
Adam, what the heck's his name? First baseman. Yes, he went to Slippery Rock.
Killed us. He killed us. If it wasn't for him, we probably would have won that series. But
that's the Rock. We'll have to look up his name. I think it's Adam. What the heck is his name now?
Yeah.
He's a big boy.
Big guy.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to go to break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about a little bit of financial situations with the Pirates, and we're going to ask Ryan some questions. So you guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
Has your classic car or hot rod seen better days? Just call me, Dave Rodenbaugh, and my team at the Pennsylvania Hot Rod Company. The full-service hot rod shop offers it all. Everything from custom fabrication and restoration to regular maintenance and collision repair. With over 40 years of experience, there isn't a job too big or too small. The Pennsylvania Hot Rod Company's enclosed trailer service ensures safe transit for your ride during any season. The Pennsylvania Hot Rod Company is located at 6th Street in Beaver Falls. Visit pahotrod.com or call 412-719-4950.
Looking for a great job opportunity? McDonald's now has full-time and part-time positions available to fit your lifestyle and needs. Set up your own hours and have a lot of fun too. Whatever your situation is, McDonald's has a place for you. Apply today at mchire.com. McDonald's is here for you. I'm loving it.
It's hard to even put a title on what Tom Young at First Consultants in Beaver does. Calling him a financial planner or an insurance salesman or even a life coach still doesn't accurately describe the experience. That's because he brings dreams back to life or puts life back into retirement.
My job is to create in you the vision of the you that I think you can be, the place that I think you can get to. And you know what? I get frustrated because I see more greatness in people than they see in themselves. I see greater financial futures than they see in themselves. Most people don't believe they can get there.
Find out more by visiting firstconsultantsinc.com or engage in Tom Young's live simulcast presentation on the third Tuesday of each month beginning at 9:10 a.m. on Beaver County Radio and Facebook Live. All advisory services are offered through PL Wealth LLC. PL Wealth is a federally registered investment advisor. PL Wealth is in no way affiliated with First Consultants Inc., nor is First Consultants Inc. a registered investment advisor.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Now back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. He's ready to take your calls at 724-774-1888 or 724-843-1888. Also, make sure you check us out on Beaver County Radio, Facebook Live, and Beaver County Radio YouTube. Today's show is sponsored by Easy Home Exteriors. They do roofing replacement, windows, doors, and entryways, as well as siding. Easy Home Exteriors is a one-stop shop for all of your exterior remodeling needs. For a free estimate, call 412-678-7008. That's 412-678-7008. I went fast there so I could beat the music.
I hear that. Look at you. You were like the remember the micro machine guy when we were kids? That guy that just spoke really fast on he was like the
Micro Machines.
Micro Machines.
Yes. Weren't they like little cars or something?
Very, they were micro.
Yes. So Matt Adams, not Adam. Matt Adams was the first baseman for the Cardinals. He was a former Slippery Rock alumni.
It had to
Matt
be
Adams.
It had to be a guy from right here, of course.
Right, of course. So I have some trivia here because we're going to talk about where the Pirates are versus the rest of the National League, where they need to be competitors. But I have a couple trivia questions for you, Ryan.
Okay.
And he's got his phone out, so he's going to start cheating.
I'm not going to cheat. I was.
Don't pull a mic. Don't pull a mic.
I won't pull a mic, I swear.
All right. Fair enough. So I have this broken up into, let's see here. There are 26 players I have listed here.
Okay.
For the Pirates roster. 6 players make $5 million or more. 6 more players make $2.1 million or more. And 14 of them make the league minimum.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Could you tell me, Ryan, who is the highest paid Pirate?
Bryan Reynolds. Is he in the top 5?
Bryan Reynolds is number 2. That's who I would have thought was number 1. Aronis Chapman is our highest paid Pirate.
That's okay. Before you go on, that's what I'm saying. You have to go out. Basically, what's going on? You have to overspend, as you were saying. Them going out and getting an over the hill Aronis Chapman
guy. He's just your 8th inning
guy.
Your
8th inning guy. You overpaid him. Obviously, he's the top paid guy. He's the top paid guy on the team, Brian. And but look what happens when he comes in. He's most of the time he went he had a perfect outing the other night. This is what you have to do to win in the majors. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
Let's just compare our 8th inning guy versus our 7th inning guy, Holderman.
I say So what's the tiers?
Okay, so there's $5 million and more.
Okay.
There's 6 players, so we know Chapman and Reynolds are 2 of those.
Okay.
Then there are the $2.1 million to like $4.5 million tier, and then there's everybody else.
So the 3 tiers.
So there's 3 tiers. There's 6, 6, and 14.
Okay.
So tier 1 is Chapman, Reynolds, and 4 others.
I think Holderman probably falls into the last tier.
Holderman is a league minimum guy.
Yeah.
Very, very good guess. Yes. So your 8th inning guy makes $10.5 million a year, and your 7th inning guy makes $700 and change.
Yeah.
700 and some thousand. I mean, I could deal with 700 some thousand. But,
absolutely.
You
right.
know, we're here on the radio doing what we do. Now, do you know who our 3rd highest player is? I think you're going to guess this one wrong too, because I would have guessed the highest and the 3rd highest wrong.
I got 2 names in mind right now for my highest. One being Andrew McCutchen.
Okay, McCutchen is 5th.
He's 5th.
He's right at $5 million.
Okay.
So between Chapman at 10.5 and McCutchen at 5, there's 4 other players. Reynolds is obviously the 2nd. Then there's 3 other guys.
David Bednar.
He is not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Our closer is not one of our top 6 players paid.
Does he fall into the 2nd tier?
He does. He
Okay.
does. He's not a league minimum.
So there's 2 guys.
So there's Aronis Chapman, Bryan Reynolds, a guy, and then Andrew McCutchen.
Oh, that's tough. Key Brian Hayes.
Key Brian Hayes is number 4.
Okay.
He's number 4. There's somebody that's 3, and this one really surprised me. I was like, I have no idea. I didn't even know this.
Because
and then you should be able to get the number 5 guy. So we have Chapman, Reynolds, somebody.
Mitch Keller.
Mitch Keller is 5.
Okay.
So our 3rd highest player, you're not going to get this. There's no, like, when I was looking at this, I really was like, okay, it's Reynolds, and then there's Chapman, but it's opposite. Then there's Hayes was 3.
Right.
Nope, he's not. He's 4. Then there's Keller, who's 5. McCutchen, who's 6. Who pitched today, Ryan?
Martin Perez.
He is our 3rd highest paid player.
I would have not.
Yeah, I was like,
only
$8 million a year?
Only behind Aroldis Chapman and Bryan Reynolds.
Yes, Aroldis Chapman, the greatest closer since who's he? What's it from the Yankees?
Yeah,
and formerly of the Yankees, and then our Bryan Reynolds, who we traded to get. We traded Andrew McCutchen to get Bryan Reynolds.
Okay.
All right. So our next tier, there are 6 players that make anywhere from $2.1 million to 4.5 ish.
O'Neal Cruz. Oh wow. Rowdy Tellez.
Rowdy Tellez is 3rd on this list at $3.2 million. I'm going to help you with some of these, but you'll be able to get maybe 2 more of these, maybe.
And then we already decided that David Bednar was on the list.
David Bednar is 4.5, so he's at the top of this list. Tellez is 3rd. There are 4 other players that make between 2.1 and 4 million.
I'm going to say Michael A. Taylor.
Michael A. Taylor, $4 million. Yes, ding, ding, ding.
Talking about another situation of overspending and just not getting any production. It's crazy.
$4 million for our worst offensive player. And Zawinski's up there with him, but
statistically proven, this is Michael A. Taylor's worst season of his career.
Yeah, what do you have? 21 home runs last year.
Yes.
He has 2 this year.
1 or 2.
Yeah, thanks, Taylor. $4 million well spent by the. I don't know. They're
so
probably going to trade him.
Bednar, Taylor, and Tellez. So there's 3 more guys that are in the 2nd tier.
There's 3 more guys. I'll give you a hint. They're all older guys. None of them are under 25.
Grandel.
Grandel is 5th on this list at 2.5. Yes.
Is Joey Bart, is he on that, or does he fall in the bottom tier?
Joey Bart is a league minimum.
He's a league minimum.
Yes. Former, what was he? 2nd pick overall.
Yeah. He was supposed to be the next Buster Posey.
Yeah, way to go, Giants. You ruined him.
How about Jack Zawinski?
Jack Zawinski is a league minimum guy, and he should make less than the league minimum. He should be paying to play the Pirates for the Pirates. No, Marcos Gonzalez.
Okay.
And
Connor Joe.
I knew you were going to get that one. All right, so that's we have Aronis Chapman makes 10.5, Reynolds 10.25, Perez 8, Hayes 7, Keller 5.85, McCutchen 5. Then you go to our next tier, Bednar 4.5, Taylor 4, Tellez 3.2, Gonzalez 3, Grandel. Well, that's the pitcher, Gonzalez 3, Grandel 2.5, then Joe. Let me just give you a couple names that make the league minimum.
Yeah, I mean, these are the remaining names, so why don't you just tell me the remaining names?
Okay, so you got Triolo, he should be making that. Fleming should be making that. Zawinski, Nicholas, Melodinsky, Priester, but then Santana. But then you have Palacios, you have Nick Gonzalez, you have Holderman, you have Ortiz. Ortiz, I believe, should be pitching Friday, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you have Paul Skeens and O'Neill Cruz.
See that? Yeah.
Making the league minimum. Now, Paul Skeens did get that $9.2 million signing bonus, so technically he's making a little more than the league minimum this year. So technically with that, he might be making more than, well, close to Chapman.
So when we sit here as Pittsburgh Pirates fans and say, man, why does this team, why can't they score? Why are they no good? Why? I mean, how many guys do we have that you just named that plays every day that makes the league minimum? Nicky G, come on, this guy right now is the clutch hitter on this team. League minimum.
Yeah, since he's been called up, I believe he leads the league in RBIs with runners in scoring position or something crazy like that. So yeah, I just found it odd. Okay, so our salary, the Cubs are spending how much? $220 million or something, and they stink. They absolutely stink. They said they're going to be sellers. I hear on these other stations that, the Pirates should get, like, the Cubs aren't giving us anybody that's that's going to be a future because they've got to play against us, and they're probably trying to trade off so that they can compete the next 5 years. So I don't even know why they talk about getting anybody from the Cubs. But the Pirates spend, $84 million?
Yeah, about that.
Okay. My list has about $75 million on it. I don't know where the other $9 million is, if it's guys that are called up and come down, but I don't know how that works. But 46 plus million are in 6 players.
Yeah, you would think with those 6 players you should have a little bit more production, right?
Then you add another almost 20 million in the next 6 players, and then 10.5 million is probably half of your most productive guys.
Yeah. Talking about running a business backwards, it doesn't make much sense, does it?
No. That's why they haven't won anything since 1979. When did Nutting take over?
I don't recall the year.
It's got to be the early 2000s, right?
Yeah.
So
it's been a while.
So let's just say 20 years.
But how does each owner, every GM, every owner, they stay consistent over the years? You know what I mean? You get the guy who's cheap, comes in, doesn't spend any money. You see the results of that. And then you go out and you spend a little money. You see the results. What happened in 2013, 14, and 15? This team was a good team. Whatever possessed them to make them go away from that strategy, they're back.
Well, what happens is when you win 98 games in the season, the last thing you want to do is the next season win them 100. So you just get rid of everybody.
Right.
That's the last thing. Because if you win 100 games, everybody's going to be demanding money, right?
You're right.
It's like a team that wins a Super Bowl. Like, everybody gets a max contract, and it's tough to keep a Super Bowl team. But I don't know what to think here. The Pirates going into the trade deadline, would you say 6 days?
6 days, yes.
So we only have, after the last Houston game, is that when the trade deadline's over?
Yes.
So we play the Diamondbacks 3 at Arizona, then we play at Houston,
yes,
and then the trade deadline's up.
And then we will be 2/3 of the way through the season officially.
And then we get the Diamondbacks back at our place.
Yeah.
Then we get, I believe, the Padres at our place. Then we're away at the Dodgers, and then we're away at the Padres.
Yes.
So, yeah, like I said, 12 games against the Diamondbacks and Padres. That's like playing this past series.
Absolutely.
The Cardinals, because that's who you're playing against. You're not playing against the Brewers anymore. We're probably, unless we go on some crazy run and they have a losing streak, we're not playing for the division. So we're playing against the Diamondbacks and the Padres these next 18 games. We've got to win, let's say 3-3 against Houston and the Dodgers, and then we've got to win 8 against the teams are battling.
And you keep saying to yourself, well, how long are these other teams going to hang in there? How long is San Diego going to hang in there? How long is the Diamondbacks going to hang in there? But I guess they could say the same thing with the Pirates. At any point, you really feel that this team can drop out, or at any point you feel like this team can maybe make a little surge. It's hard. This group of teams that are fighting for this last wild card spot. It's going to be interesting, Brian. I think between the Braves all the way down through four of the teams that are still fighting for the wild card spot, they're all within 3 games of one another. I think the Braves are only 3 games ahead. With that
the Braves
first
are
wild card.
54 and 45, and the Diamondbacks are 52 and 50. I mean, that's a series goes one way or another, and you go from the last to the top, or vice versa.
Listen to this. We're 1 game until the end of the day, when we see what some other scores around the league look like. We're 1 game out of a wild card spot. However, if we would have won last night and beat St. Louis in the game where Paul Skeens pitched and we lost, we would have been tied for the second wild card spot. We would have leapfrogged number 3. We would have been tied with St. Louis for the number 2. So I mean, Brian, a day or two can make a lot of difference. So that just goes to show you how important these games are going to be here over the last 2 months of the season.
Well, I'd like to switch things up. We'll get away from the Pirates for just a minute for the next segment, but we do have to go to break. You guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
Whether it's Little League or the big leagues, it's time to get out and play ball. Friendly Federal Credit Union reminds you that every team looks forward to playing at home in front of a live crowd. Seeing loyal fans can help any player feel more comfortable. Just like a home game in baseball, Friendly Federal Credit Union always has friendly faces to help and cheer you on at the teller window. Now get out of that dugout and in front of your cheering section. The personal live tellers at Friendly Federal Credit Union.
Hey, can you imagine trying to hit a fastball or throwing a runner out at home? It's hard to think of doing these things under perfect circumstances, let alone with the distraction and discomfort of dental issues. Regular dental care from Dr. C. Timothy Lip can improve your productivity, happiness, and focus, even if you're not in the big leagues. Dental problems affect more than just your teeth. Visit lipdentistry.com or Dr. C. Timothy Lip Family Dental Offices on College Hill and Robinson Township.
One of the greatest honors a person can receive is to be gathered with their people at the time of their passing. Even biblical authors, when they wanted to explain what it meant to have lived a great, prosperous, and meaningful life, spoke of the individual as having lived a long time and being gathered with friends and relatives near as they closed out their twilight years. Being gathered together with loved ones is something that the J&J Spratt Funeral Home takes very seriously as well. The comfort both given and received cannot be underestimated. J&J Spratt Funeral Home also knows that the honor shown to a loved one at their time of need in this manner is still the right thing to do today. J&J Spratt Funeral Home has been gathering together with area families for 4 generations and looks forward to honoring future residents deserving of being gathered together with friends and family. Click jjsprattfh.com.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Now back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. He's ready to take your calls at 724-774-1888 or 724-843-1888. Today's show is sponsored by Easy Home Exteriors. They do roofing replacement, windows, doors, and entryways, as well as siding. Easy Home Exteriors is your one-stop shop for all of your exterior modeling needs. For a free estimate, call 412-678-7008. That's 412-678-7008. Did I trick Ryan? Because I also want you to make sure you check us out on Beaver County Radio Facebook Live and Beaver County Radio YouTube.
You did. You got me on that one, man.
I did.
All right.
I got tricks. All right. We're going to change things up. Paul Skeens, the lack of bats, the Pirates, that's something to talk about. We got Steelers. We're going to talk Steelers probably in the final segment because, they're going to be heading to training camp. What are they starting today to start showing up in their helicopters and their mopeds and whatever. If I was there, I would run in from a mile away with a the Chariots of Fire uniform from whatever. I would do something like that. That's just me though.
I got to tell you, Brian, on the way into work, I've noticed the past couple of days there's on one of the roads I take. It looks like a back end of a sports car.
Let me guess. It's yellow?
Yes.
It's a Fiero?
And
it's a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a Wildwood. Right at the bottom of Wildwood in 51. Yes.
You've seen this as well?
I have.
What is that?
That is something. It's from Ohio plates. So no offense to you Ohio listeners, but... how's that even legal? It is the back of a 80 something Fiero, which was a 2-seater convertible that was the cheapest convertible sports car you could have in the 80s.
And when you turn that bend, that's all you see. You see the back end of the car. You think, oh, there's a little sports car on the side of the road. But then what happens, Bryan?
Well, I was coming downhill, so I saw the bike, and I'm like, oh, it's one of those trike, and I'm like, no, that's a Fiero.
Yes.
So there is on Wildwood at the bottom of the hill, right before you get to 51, or if you're turning off of 51 to go up the hill, just off to the right, going up the hill, there's a little pull-off area, and there is a motor Fiero bike something.
It has
sports
been
car
here all week.
convertible.
Yes, and as I said, as you make the bend, you see the back of this car, you just assume that there's a car off to the side of the road, but the sooner the closer you get to it, the whole entire front is a bike.
I went to Zookie's, which everybody make sure you get down to Zookie's. I went to Zookie's just to stop in and just say hi and make my rounds there, and I saw it. And to be honest with you, everybody in Zookie's was talking about this.
Are you serious?
Yes, it was a big deal. It was almost as big as Beaver Falls Batman.
Wow.
Almost as big.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as I said, it's been there all week. What's, whose is it? What's going on with that car?
I don't know. The one guy said, is it odd that I want it? I'm like, yeah, that'd be fun to drive for about an hour or two. Then you're going to want to sell it. It's like a boat. What's your favorite 2 days of owning your boat? The day you buy it, the day you sell it.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
All right. So Friday. I don't like to talk politics too much, but we're going to talk politics here just for a second.
Okay.
Let's just say there was an athlete, well-known athlete, and he was very pro-communism and very pro-China.
Ooh, okay.
Right? And he made his money mostly from China and promoting China. And let's just say he was from the United States, maybe Akron, maybe he was from Akron, and very famous guy. And, he has a shoe company and makes a ton of money from, people probably getting paid 75 cents a week to make shoes.
Right.
Okay.
Of course.
And let's just say that he was believing that he should kneel for the national anthem because of cop brutality or something versus, minorities. Okay.
Okay.
So he kneeled for many games. And he decided that was a good idea. This is where the disclaimer comes in by that chick. Who's the chick that says the disclaimer?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is not the opinion of Beaver County Radio. So this is one man's opinion. This is my opinion. A man that kneels for season or games after game after game during the national anthem should not be carrying the American flag in the opening ceremonies of the Olympics.
Let me ask you this. If you have if you have a problem like this person does with whatever the situation was that he did this, the kneeling. Now, if they would do it one game, if you go out, you make your point, you kneel, you don't stand, whatever, whatever the deal is that okay? Or is the problem the fact that he did it continuously over a long period of time?
The fact is that people went out and made sacrifices so that this guy could be a billionaire, and you're allowed to do whatever you want to do. If you want to kneel, go ahead and kneel. That's just fine by me. That means if I don't like you kneeling, that means I don't buy your jersey. That means I don't buy your shoes. That means I don't buy your tickets.
That's the way to play. You're right.
I'm not condemning what he did. But at the same time, why is that the person voted to carry out the United States American flag on Friday in the opening ceremony? Somebody that disrespected it.
I mean, obviously he's the big name on that team, and I think to myself, I
won't name him. It rhymes with DeBron Lames. DeBron Lames.
Let me start with the first part of that. Yeah, I do think that these people they do go and sacrifice their lives, but they also do sacrifice their lives, Brian, for our ability to have our own opinion and
correct. And like I
right.
said, he's allowed to do
Right.
it. It's not like it's illegal. It's not like, this isn't the CCCP
Right.
and this isn't, the Soviet Union where you get thrown in prison or worse. You can do it, but I'll be darned. You should not be carrying our flag. Absolutely not.
So you're not a big fan of that. I think the reason would be just because he's probably the captain of that team, I would imagine, and he's the big name on that team, and
yeah, he's the biggest fraud in sports history. But anyway,
but a lot of people do like him, though. You know what?
No, they don't. Nobody likes him. There's like 10 people, and half of them are his family.
Yeah.
And the other half are people that make money off of him.
Right.
It's like the shills in the media that got promoted throughout that worldwide leader and garbage that they're putting out. They all, like, one went to school with him, and then his agent, was his buddy, and then all these guys get promoted up, and they're like the number one NBA analysts, and it's like, no, they just kissed this dude's butt and he promoted them. And then people that said anything negative about him, he sent them texts and emails and called them and said, why are you saying negative things about me? It's really sad. It's a big conspiracy.
Okay. I don't know. Like I said, I think if you have an issue, which people do, if you decide to take a kneel, that one time, but if it becomes a thing, now you're affecting the business, you're affecting the company, and that's ultimately the big picture here. And
I believe Mike Tomlin outlawed that. He said, if you kneel, you're not playing.
Right.
Now, and like I said, there's no offense to any policeman or whatever out there, but there has been some events that police brutality
absolutely
are the cause of why this started.
Yeah.
There's some bad police officers out there. Obviously, the good cops are probably upset because that puts them in danger. If you're a good police officer and they look at you negatively because somebody else did somewhere, in another city, maybe even another state, that could put you in danger because somebody's mad about something. But kneeling constantly and then carrying the flag, like, how do you do both? I don't get it.
Yeah. It's like having Colin Kaepernick come out and singing the national anthem to start the season.
He could do a better job than that chick that did the home run derby, though. I would rather listen to Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, I would too.
So, and like I said, I don't want this to be a thinking logically style,
right?
Show today, but this is the Olympics, and you're representing the what do they say in the movie The Miracle? You're playing for the name on the front of the jersey, not the name on the back.
Right.
You're not playing for the name lames. You're not playing for lames. You're playing for the United States of America, which you disrespected not even 4 years ago. This isn't like you were 18 and maybe you were like a confused kid and were like, I was out of college and maybe I was a little brainwashed by the Marxist college system or whatever. This is 4 years ago. You were, let's just say this guy's in his mid-30s. I'm not exactly his exact age, but maybe you're in your mid-30s.
Yeah.
And then 4 years later, you're the name. I'm not going to watch it. I'm literally not going to watch it because it's just sickening.
Listen, I don't disagree with you, and I don't 100% agree the whole way, but I'm not going to watch because this team ain't no good. Isn't any good. I'm sorry. This team, I mean, you're beating South Sudan at the end of the game by 4 points. You're beating Australia by 2 points. This is, I think it's going to be the worst team that you've seen in a long time playing with USA on the front of their jersey, and I don't expect them to win the gold at all.
All right, we have like 2 minutes left, so I want to go over this real quick because I think we're going to get into some Steelers talk after this.
All right.
But, okay, so the Olympic team has played 5, I guess, warm-up games you'd call. They played Serbia, which I think Jokic plays on. They played Canada, Australia, South Sudan, and Germany.
Yes.
They won by like 6 or less in 4 of the games, okay? And the shills in the media, this is why you listen to One Man's Opinion. This is why you listen to the Two Dumb Yinzers on YouTube every Monday through Friday, 11 to 12, because they're going to give you the real opinion. Their real opinion, not based on somebody giving you money to do this. And so you're not going to say something because that's what you have to say. The shills in the media have been saying that this 2024 basketball team is much better than the 1992 Dream Team that beat everybody by 35 points or more. They're squeaking out wins. They had a 43.5 point, I guess, the betting favorite.
Okay.
43.5 for South Sudan. South Sudan missed 2 layups at the end of the game to win the game.
I got to be honest with you. I didn't know that South Sudan was even.
This is the first time they've ever played. Somebody's like, hey, do you want to play on a team? And they're like, sure. And then they got a team, and they're just as good as the United States because these guys are so overrated. They don't play any defense. They go into ISO. They give up layups in the lane. It's really Steve Kerr. Not a good coach, It was better when they had like the college guys or like, the play in the defense. Steve Kerr's like, do whatever you want because you guys are all-stars. One more thing before we go to break. Moving away from the men's USA basketball team, I want to talk about real quick the women's basketball team. So over the weekend, I'm sure nobody tuned in. The WNBA All-Star games happened, right? They had the 3-point contest, some 3-on-3 thing. And then Team USA, the team representing the United States of America, played the girls that didn't get selected to the team. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Who won?
Oh, the WNBA team did.
Yes. The girls that didn't get selected to the USA Olympic team squashed the USA team.
I think it's time for the old dogs to move along in the WNBA. Deanna Taurasi's been there for 20 years. A lot of these women are very aged and beyond their prime. I don't see what it would have hurt to put a Angel Reese and a Caitlin Clark on this USA team. And again, this game right here played over the weekend proved that, Brian.
All right.
One other thing. I got one question for you.
6 more other things before we go to break.
One other thing before we do go to break, I want to ask you, one of the people that are going to to open the Olympics is Snoop Doggy Dogg. Did you see this? In Paris, the Olympics getting ready to start. Snoop Dogg is going to be one of the people that come.
I did see Snoop's going to Paris.
Yes.
I didn't know that he was helping light.
So
is he going to smoke some lit off of there, or what's going on?
That was my question. I mean, how do you get Snoop out of all the people, the 7-8 billion people on the planet?
Snoop-a-loop might light a fatty up off the Olympic.
Maybe that's what they're going for. I don't know.
Where is this world gone to? Oh my goodness gracious! All right, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about sports. You guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
Beaver County Radio, your hometown radio station. You're listening live from the Fry Transportation Studios. Beaver County Radio and Fry Transportation, proud to call Beaver County home.
Summer fun starts at the East Rochester and Tusca Shop and Saves. They have everything you need to enjoy your summer. Fire up the grill with their top quality meats, juicy steaks, tender chicken, and mouth-watering ribs along with burgers. Cool down with a great selection of wines and explore the famous beer cave for an extensive variety of brews. Don't miss out on amazing weekly specials and save money at the pump with every dollar that you spend. Stop by the East Rochester and Tusca Shop and Save today for everything that you need this summer.
Hey, can you imagine trying to hit a fastball or throwing a runner out at home? It's hard to think of doing these things under perfect circumstances, let alone with the distraction and discomfort of dental issues. Regular dental care from Dr. C. Timothy Lip can improve your productivity, happiness, and focus, even if you're not in the big leagues. Dental problems affect more than just your teeth. Visit lipdentistry.com or Dr. C. Timothy Lip Family Dental Offices on College Hill and Robinson Township.
Whether it's Little League or the big leagues, it's time to get out and play ball. Friendly Federal Credit Union reminds you that every team looks forward to playing at home in front of a live crowd. Seeing loyal fans can help any player feel more comfortable. Just like a home game in baseball, Friendly Federal Credit Union always has friendly faces to help and cheer you on at the teller window. Now get out of that dugout and in front of your cheering section, the personal live tellers at Friendly Federal Credit Union.
AK Nahas is celebrating our 85th anniversary with special sales in every department. Ashley recliners for $285. Whirlpool washers with removable agitator, just $685. Get a GE stainless steel refrigerator for $785 and a Frigidaire dishwasher for $385. And for our 85th anniversary, all customers receive a scratch card worth up to $500 off your furniture purchase. Together, we've come a long way in 85 years. Thank you for your continued support. For quality products at the right price, trust AK Nahas, appliance, furniture, mattress, and TV. You'll do okay with AK.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Now back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. Make sure you guys check us out on Beaver County Radio Facebook Live and Beaver County Radio YouTube. Today's show is sponsored by Easy Home Exteriors. They do roofing, replacement, windows, doors, and entryways, as well as siding. Easy Home Exteriors is your one-stop shop for all of your exterior modeling needs. For a free estimate, call 412-678-7008. That's 412-678-7008. All right, Ryan, I want to talk about the Steelers here because it's just about that time of year where we're going to start changing our swimming trunks into maybe a hoodie coming up here in the next month or so. The Steelers are reporting to training camp. I do want to announce something, though, Ryan, that our show is going to be sponsored by a YouTube channel that just got created this past week. So whenever the pen hits the road there, we will be we'll have a new sponsor.
All right.
So the Steelers.
Yes.
They report today.
Yes.
Helicopters,
school
Hummers,
buses, scooters,
the short bus.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So is everybody going to be there? Is Cam Hayward and Freiermuth going to be there? Or are they going to hold in? Or, because Ayuk reported to the 49ers.
Yes.
But apparently he's not going to participate in anything, but he's there. So he collects his check or something, but he's not going to participate. Are there any Steelers that you know of that are looking to maybe try to get an offer during camp?
There's a few potential things going on here. I do know that Cam Hayward, his contract is a question here. I think that this plays a big part in what we can do moving forward. We kind of have our hands tied with this one particular player who
$22.4 million this year is what he's getting paid, and he wants more for 2 more years at least, correct?
And while I'm reading this, you're starting to see possibilities of places where he may go, places that may pay him what he wants. Philadelphia.
After this season, correct?
Right,
yes, it's not to confuse our listeners. I knew that, but...
Yeah, but Philadelphia is a place that seems to have,
See ya.
That's where I'm at with him.
Absolutely. 22. Okay. On your show, Ryan co-hosts the Two Dumb Yinzers. You can catch that out on YouTube live every Monday through Friday, 11 to 12, the Two Dumb Yinzers. But, you guys talked about Highsmith making a lot of money.
Yes.
And I'm a huge Highsmith fan. Last year, he disappeared for 10 of the 17 games.
Yeah.
So I get it. But Highsmith doesn't even make $7 million.
You're right.
Hayward makes $22.4 million. Ogunjobi makes $13.28 million. What are those two dudes doing?
You know what? Ogunjobi, he disappeared last year. I can't think of five times that I remember them calling his name. I think Alex Highsmith paid too much, and also, but yes, Cam Hayward. I think they said that it averaged out over the past 2 seasons that he's making roughly 4 tackles a game. 4 tackles a game is what you're getting from Cam Hayward, which I think is a stretch.
2 more than TJ Watt.
But this is what you're getting from Cam. I don't. As I said, I contest that. I don't know if he is getting 4 tackles a game, and I know that he falls on the pile.
He's getting 8 half tackles because he falls on the pile after somebody else already starts to make the tackle.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I was looking at because earlier in the show we did what the Pirates are making and whatnot. So I was looking up what do they make versus Steelers, and obviously the payroll goes from I don't know, it was 80 some million to 200 and some million for the Steelers, and it's just Holcomb's 7.6, Herbig 5.4, Boswell 4.7, well spent money, but you've got Fields and Wilson, our quarterbacks, making a combined 4.3, and you have Hayward there making 22.4. I get it that Wilson's getting money from Denver, but still.
Right. But still, you're going to live and die by those players. Those guys are going to touch the ball every single time they're out there. They're going to make the plays. They're going to break the plays. Cam Hayward again, 4 tackles a game. I wouldn't be upset to see him leave and go elsewhere. I think that you could get the production that you could get from him from elsewhere. Plus, if you bring in a younger guy, I think that he's going to be more motivated to play, more motivated to make big plays, more motivated to try to earn that money. I'm kind of over Cam Hayward at this point in his career. Listen, I don't have anything bad to say about him. I was happy with the time that he was here.
Except that he's never made a tackle all season.
But the thing is,
and maybe he cheated on his IRS returns with his donation.
But if you would look at his numbers, Bryan, he has a lot of sacks over the period of time he was here. I appreciate that. I'm not bad mouthing that. I'm talking about the Cam Hayward that you're going to see come out on the floor or out on the field this year. The Cam Hayward that got the groin injury last year, was out about 2 months, I think. This is the Cam Hayward that I wouldn't be sad to see go. And like I said, it's a business. If you free that money up, you're using it elsewhere that you need it. And I'm kind of over Cam.
All right, we have 5 minutes left, 6 minutes left before we have to go for the week. There's two positions I want to talk about. The defense is pretty much shored up. We've got to find somebody to cover the slot position because we got Sutton on the suspension. But there are two positions I think that are not set. Obviously, we've got a couple quarterbacks we can rely on, a couple running backs we can rely on. You hope Freiermuth does well. You hope Washington steps up. And wide receiver. Can Van Jefferson turn it around and be a number 2? I'm starting to think that that's our only hope. I mean, we're hoping that Wilson steps up throughout the course of the season and becomes that number 2 or number 3 guy. But, weeks 1 through 6, I don't think he's going to be, a go-to guy. So can Van Jefferson, I don't know, step it up again?
That's the $1 million question.
A couple years ago, he was good.
He had an okay. That's the $1 million question. Are we going to be sitting here 5 weeks into the season going, oh my God, if we just had another wide receiver, we would be able to win that game that we just lost? Or if we just had that other wide receiver, we would be 4-1 instead of 2-3. Do you think that that's going to affect us that much, Bryan? And I know a lot of people say that it is, but at the end of the day, you have Arthur Smith coming in totally changing this offense around. You have a strong running game. You have tight ends. You do have George Pickens. You have other, You want that guy, but is it going to affect us if we're not able to pull a Brandon Ayuk or a guy like this?
I don't see us getting anybody. I really do. And if we do, I think it's just going to be somebody that's maybe a number 3 or a number 4 that has to be the number 2 until Wilson gets acclimated, or if Jefferson, steps it up. I think Jefferson has to be that guy.
With that being said, in retrospect, are you still okay with the Deontay trade happening, the Deontay Johnson trade? I mean, that's the reason we're in the position we are in now.
Here's the thing. I hear about it on other stations that they're just terrible and they don't listen to them because they're awful. Their takes are awful. Oh, you traded away a wide receiver and all you got was a starting cornerback. If we didn't have the wide receiver, we'd be like, who's going to start a cornerback? So it's half to one, 6 dozen to another, and $1 million to this person or that person. It literally is the same difference to me.
Yeah.
We now have that number 2 cornerback, which we didn't have last year. So I'm fine with Mr. Run Backwards gone and doesn't want to dive after a fumble or whatever the heck was going on.
Listen, I've been saying that we had to get rid of DJ for a couple of seasons now. I thought that he was not that productive. And people are going to come in, they're going to point out, well, he had this many yards, he did get this many touchdowns. But overall, you need a better receiver. You need, especially as a number 2. If Deontay was your number 3, you could probably pull that off. But Bryan, as every day goes on, I am starting to agree with you that it's starting to look a little bit more dim that we're not going to get that guy.
I mean, Van Jefferson, he's 27. The only reason that little Hawaiian kid took over his spot last year. Otherwise, I think he would have had a productive year last year. So I'm rooting for Van Jefferson. He, to me, needs to step it up in order for the Steelers to be a contender. Now, the other part of that is the offensive line.
Yeah.
What is Dan Moore Jr. still doing taking snaps at starting left tackle? What are we doing?
I don't know. You know what? I think the line's going to be okay. The line.
How? They've got our left tackle playing right tackle because our terrible left tackle can't play right tackle, and then we got our right tackle not playing because our left tackle can't play right tackle. It is Mike Tomlin in a nutshell.
Okay.
Here's Mike Tomlin in a nutshell.
Yeah. You look just like, And if you didn't see that, guys, please go on to YouTube or the Facebook page and check out the what was it? The nutshell that you were just.
Mike Tomlin in a nutshell.
In a nutshell.
He's literally making this into a debacle.
Yeah.
And if Frazier doesn't start at center, I'm going to I don't know. I feel like on our show prior to the NFL season when we have our show Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. I guess that's a tentative plan. We don't have a name for it yet. Stay tuned. Ryan and I will be doing something for about an hour or so before the Sunday football games every Sunday, maybe 10 a.m.-ish. For an hour. We might change it up if like the Steelers play at a different time, but I think 10 a.m. sounds like a good time to start it. We're going to be going over the X's and O's and what to expect for the next Steelers game as well as all the other NFL games. But if week 1, who did we play? The Falcons?
Yes.
If we lose to teams like that, just think how tough it's going to be to beat our division and the Eagles and the Chiefs come down the stretch. Yes.
No, you know what? It's Brian, a lot of changes have happened. We don't know what to expect. We have new quarterbacks. We have a lot of things going on. But as you said, yes, do check that show out. It will be starting.
I believe we're going to do the Sunday before the NFL season, maybe.
Okay, so
maybe we'll have a little preview game. I don't know.
And you'll certainly hear us talk more about it in the meantime.
Next Wednesday, we'll probably have more detail, especially a name and what's going on. And we might even have like a little trailer on the YouTube page so you can know what to expect, what we're going to talk about, what we're going to do. But it's been an awesome hour. Thanks for spending it with me, Ryan.
Absolutely, man.
All right, everyone. We will see you back here in 167 hours. Thanks for listening to WVBP 99.3 and 1230 AM.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and hosts. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
You've been listening to One Man's Opinion on Sports with Bryan Pasquale on Beaver County Radio. Don't forget, you can watch the show on WBVP-WMBA Facebook page anytime. Tune in next Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. for One Man's Opinion on Sports with Bryan Pasquale on Beaver County Radio.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.